enjoyed this week's episode, and please like this video, share with your friends and dock mates, and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us get more viewers like you.
Okay, so the captain has spoken. We are going to continue our good fortune with the water pressure assembly by hooking it up to our wiring. So Devin's like, you know what? You like to do wiring. You're focused on the pump. It's not going to take very long to get done. So just mark it off the list, and then eventually I'll switch back to actually doing the plumbing itself. So I gotta do some wiring today. I love wiring like that. Just like the detail work and like the heat shrink and, you know, like the crimping and the connections and the wire size, and it just feels good in my brain. But I gotta switch my brain over from like this mechanical fastening fabricating mode to wiring mode. So what do I gotta do? I need my wire, like electrical kit. I need to size the wire for the right gauge. We need to get our fuses. So yeah, like I gotta kind of switch over to electrical mode, but I like it. It's fun. So I'm gonna get started on that, and yeah, we'll give it a look-see. Let's go. All right, wiring up our new pump. So, luckily, over here, past us has laid a present and a gift to present us. Check this out. Fresh water pump pressure. So we've got our wiring that we need right here. So it is definitely not the wiring we're gonna use though. That is old and crusty, and there's no markings on it, so we don't know the brand, we don't know the gauge, we don't know if it's marine grade. We just don't know much about it at all, other than it's old and it's gonna get replaced. But before we do that, I'll strip this back, and then we're gonna flip on the breaker and test to make sure we have 12 volts, so we know that our breaker's good. And then once we confirm that, we will start choosing the right gauge and getting this replaced. All right, well, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but this is the old wiring from the freshwater pressure pump that we're gonna replace. But before we replace it, I wanna test to make sure we do get at least 12 volts at the end of these wires, so that we know that the breaker is good and the ground is good and all that. But I went to strip this off so we can hook up our multimeter. And I don't know if you'll be able to see, but see that black discoloration on there? That's what happens to untinned non-marine grade wiring. See, some of the copper strands are nice and bright copper, but others are black. So this is poor quality wire. In fact, it's so bad when I went to use these wire strippers, it just mangled my insulation cover there. You can kind of see how bad that is. It wouldn't even really strip it. So this is junk wire. We are going to replace it. Just showing you guys the cons of using non-marine grade wire. And feel how it's really stiff too. It's probably more automotive grade wire is my guess. But let's get the multimeter out and test and make sure that we've got 12 volts, and then we'll go ahead and replace this. Okay, here we go. Got our multimeter set to DC voltage. Orange is on the red, black is on the black. You guys stay here, watch that, and tell me if that gets greater than 12 volts, when I flip the breaker on the electrical panel. All right, ready? Flipping the water pressure breaker. Yes! 12.9 volts. 12.93. Cool. Okay. So we know our breaker's good and we've got good voltage. So let's shut it off. Perfect. Okay. So that's good news. We will now move on to the next step, which is tracing this wiring, getting it out of here. And well, actually, before we do that, we're gonna look up the recommended wire gauge size for our pump. We will somehow tie that new wire to the end of this, so when we pull the old wire out, the new wire goes with it. So first things first, take a look at your instruction manual. They're recommending 10 amp automotive fuse and a 13 American wire gauge. I think that's what AWG stands for. A size 13 gauge. So I ran the numbers and the amperage and the wire run through the Blue Seas app, and it recommended 18 gauge. The manual here is recommending minimum of 13 gauge, so they're playing it a little safe. We're gonna do one step better and go with 12 gauge. So there's our 12 gauge Anchor marine grade wiring. Some cutters, strippers, butt connectors, and crimpers. Fuse holder with the 10 amp fuse. Heat shrink, marine grade heat shrink with the adhesive lining. I'm going to try some dielectric grease on that connection and the connection at the pump itself. And then I'm going to try this out too. I'm going to tidy things up with wrapping the wires around this so that we can just keep things nice and pleasant looking. So now that we've got our wire, all of our tools and connectors, fuse, torch for the heat shrink, I think we can start pulling some fresh wire. It's pretty cool. Let's do it. Okay, we're about to get pretty intimate with the details of this boat. Don't judge us yet. We haven't gone through the wiring on this boat, and the original owner that we bought the boat from at the day of the survey told us the boat needs a rewire. So we know that. I'm going to show you my method to route some wires through a tricky spot, and you're going to see the mess that is the wiring, just the way it is. Let's take a look. So this guy is pretty great. He's a fish tape. And what I've got here is my new wires tied to the end of my fish tape with just a little bit of pink electrical tape. Thank you, Devin, for choosing that color. So I needed our new wires to go from our pump, which is right there, through this bulkhead, which already has some holes in it, back through this wire chase behind, this is the inside steering here, behind this bulkhead, and it comes out right there. So I just basically pushed my fish tape from this side that way. Then I grabbed the fish tape, used the electrical tape, and then gently pulled things through and that's what we're left up with. So next is I'm gonna take the fish tape off of our new wiring and then take the ends of our old wiring and connect that to our new wiring with electrical tape. So that way when I'm over by the electrical panel, I can just pull on the old wiring and therefore the new wiring will come in. So that's the plan. All right, major milestone. We have power to our pump. Pump has power. Let's take a look. So, kind of got it all tucked away, but we've got our insulated crimpers with the marine grade heat shrink with the adhesive tucked back in there. And then I'm gonna get this over here so I can show you. So it goes up out of the pump, down behind it, back over here in here, which is a just a little sheathing to keep the wires together and keep things from catching on them and chafing on them. Then it goes through this bulkhead, down and around to here, right here. And then I've got that loop in it. Come on, focus. I've got this loop in it because you just kind of want to have extra wire built in for ease of adjustment, and if you ever have to cut it for whatever reason and then redo it, you kind of have extra wire already in place. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. Next step is we're gonna turn it on together for the first time. And we want a noise to come from this guy right here. Ready? It worked! Man, that was fun. It was cool. I had a lot of fun. And you know what we always say too? It's also a yacht of love. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.